Hello everybody, welcome back to the group. Oh, crap, I forgot to take my forgot to put my glasses on. Whatever. I hope everyone is doing wonderful. Let me bloop. That good? Yeah, we'll call it there. I hope everyone is doing awesome. I know that I'm doing super awesome. And it's been I have so many announcements for you guys today. I'm super excited. Hi, Rolly. Hi, Latanya. Yay! Everybody's coming in. Hi, Celine. Let me know that you guys can hear me okay. Let's put me in the middle. There we go. Hi, Lena. Let's see. Make sure I have everything pulled up, because we have lots to talk about today. I hope everyone has been having an awesome week. It's been a busy one. I finally started reviving my plants. My raspberries were dying for some reason, and they've been almost dying since the beginning of the year. They were getting brown spots, but I found a wonderful post on Tumblr that helped me figure out, okay, when your plant has these kind of spots or they're doing this is what that means. So I was like, oh, I figured it out. So that really did help. So let me know what you guys have been doing this week. It's been a nutty week, it seems, for everybody. You figured out what was wrong with yours? Good, Amanda. Let me pull up comments over here. I should probably use... I also got my dual monitors finally set up, so I'm going to be looking here, I'm going to be looking there, I'm going to be looking there, because I'm on my phone. So it's really 3 that I've got going on right now. But let me pull comments up so I don't have to have it right here. What was wrong with your plants, Amanda? Because I know hers were dying too. Yeah, my violets are good, but the raspberries need humidity. Stupid bug. Where'd the bug go? They need humidity and they need a lot water because it's been getting up into the 90s here in Colorado for some goddamn reason, and it's hot and I hate it. Let me see. Hi, Kimberly. She says mostly chillin'. Took up helping up my parents by help keeping my parents' house clean by sweeping, Swiffering, vacuuming. Awesome. Yeah, there's this kind of tranquility that happens when the house is clean. You're just like, oh, it feels so good. I love it. Let me see. Come on. Comments, go up there. So today, we're going to be talking about specifically communication with spirits, because I know a lot of people were having problems with that and trying to figure out how to communicate. And it's not just spirits we're going to focus on. We're going to talk about elementals, we're going to talk about familiars, and we're going to be talking about deities as well. Because all of them, because they're ethereal, except for the physical familiars you have, they're all very much in the same zone of communication. Facebook, why you be a stupid? Give me my comments, please. Give me my comments, please. I'm gonna have to just do it on here. Yuck. Ooh, lots of comments I missed. Hi, Melinda. Rolly says mine died because I forget to water them. Yeah, it's hard because this is the first year that I'm officially trying to grow stuff, and it came out of both I want to be my true kitchen witch self and grow things, but then also at the same time, I kept getting frustrated because raspberry leaf tea is so very expensive, and I want my genuine raspberry leaf tea, so I was like, fuck it, I'll make it on my own. I'll do it myself. So that's another thing, but I got some golden raspberries from Melody in this group. I miss you, Melody. So that's what's been growing. And they've kind of halted, but now that I figure out why they were trying to die on me, hopefully they'll keep going. Amanda says, I asked the lady at the hardware store and she said to water them longer and to poke holes in the ground to kind of aerate them. Oh, okay. So kind of what we were talking about, how sometimes if the water doesn't drain right or if there's not enough air down there, then it'll stop growth. That makes sense. Ha! Comments are up, even though the video up there is funky. Let me know if you can still see me. The video up there just went green and pixelated on me. So let me know if you can still see me okay. This is super funky. Ugh. Let me see, Anna said, doing module 7 and it was really nice. Yes, because you're in the academy. Perfect for a week that needed to be, that needed a little time to catch up with myself, and today's funny with the Tower of Burnt Pizza. I hope you found a better, something else that you could eat for dinner besides burnt pizza. Okay. Let me see, yes. Okay, bye Melinda. Sorry, I didn't see where you said that you were going. Okay, I guess it's just my computer being super funky. I don't know what's wrong with this thing. Okay, so this week we are talking about spirits again, and you'll see why. You guys saw this week in the group I posted up the Summer of Magic 2018. Those of you that were with me last year around Christmas, we did a Christmas event like this where we all got together in the Heart-Centered Spiritual Biz Support Group run by Christina Quick, and we each did different workshops. I did the Using Bath Magic to Enhance Your Spiritual Practice one, because it was all just about self-care and how to get through the holidays without losing your damn mind. So this year, this is the surprise that I've been waiting to tell you guys that I missed. I'm so excited I finally get to say something. This year we're focusing on fairy tale creatures and elementals and dragons and mermaids. So it's the summer of fantasy as well. So we're going to be focusing for our group a lot on spirit work, because spirit elementals, specifically the elemental type of spirits, are something near and dear to my heart. I work with mine on a day-to-day basis. And that's the type of spirit guide that I predominantly use. And it's super, super fun once you get into spirit work, because like I was saying last week, it's exercising those psychic muscles to talk to something else that will in turn give you so much knowledge and so much information and so much guidance into expanding not just your tarot practice or your rune practice or divination practice, but also your magical practice, your spiritual practice, whatever you believe in, and beyond. It'll help transform your energy entirely. So that is what I'm predominantly going to be working on. I'll go over who's doing what kind of workshops. I'm doing 2 of them. And it's going to be an information-packed month. June is going to be ridiculous. And all of this will take place in a week. I'll give more details about it at the end of this live, but I want to give you guys kind of an introduction to what you'll be expecting from my side. Because the 2 workshops I'm going to be doing is how to meet and effectively work with your elemental spirit guide. And then, let me get the exact name so I'm not spitballing. Which deity is calling for you, using palmistry to find your patron god and goddess. So for those of you that have not done that yet, we're going to touch a little on palmistry. And we're going to help you find your patron god and goddess and how to communicate with them, as well as communicate with your guide. So we're going to start with that today, and you guys get a little extra oomph than everybody else that'll be attending the event, because you'll be getting these lives. Let's see. Anna says, I already made sure to get to notifications. Woo! Amanda says, y'all are going to make me get up early the whole week. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Kimberly says, do you know if replays will be available? I might miss a few. That's okay. Yeah. If there will be replays up just in Christina Quick's group. Let me get the link so you guys actually have where it will be. And there will be replays up for my stuff it will be not only in the Academy, but it will be on the Thinkific page. So for those of you who have gone on to Thinkific and looked at all the free workshops and the paid stuff on there and all the challenges that are on there, it'll also be posted up there. So I'll make it so you can see the replay. Let's see. Whoops. Wrong screen. But I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the link so you can go sign up for it. And there's each person that's doing the workshop, that will determine if there will be a replay. I don't think they're going to be deleted from the group. Don't quote me on that. But if there's someone specifically you really, really want to see, shoot them a message or go on their website and let them know, hey, I might miss yours. Are you going to put up a replay? Because I know for me, I will have the replays up and you'll get the guides and everything. But I don't know about everybody else because they've all got their own businesses. They're all doing their own thing. But grab that link I just did, and that should help. Let's see, what other ones were there? Since I'm in PST, yeah, same thing for you, Amanda. If it's super, super early and you can't get up that early, feel free to ask people about the replays. Amanda says, communicating and working with my spirit guides is something I've been wanting to do for a while. I know, and a lot of people are wanting to do that. Hi, Freya! I love Freya. Amanda says, ooh, sounds interesting. Never really got into palmistry and got to understand how it works. Now, the reason why, or the mailing list. Yes. Hi, Caitlin. So, when it comes to why I picked palmistry, which we'll talk about this today too, because it goes along with spirit communication, is because it's so detailed. And this is why it's also really, really prime to get into the Academy now, because you're going to get that workshop in there, as well as the other workshops for palmistry that I'll do later this year. And it'll make you ahead of the game from when the course comes out. So, to get started. So, when I first got my guide, a lot of people were having issues this week with, they took my advice from last week, they started, before they go to sleep, they tell themselves, hey, I want to talk to my guide, and then nothing happens. Or they've been doing a couple tarot spreads where they tried to communicate with their spirit guide, they've tried meditations, and haven't done anything since, because they think that's one and done. And that's not how it works. It needs to show persistence and patience with dealing with any kind of spirit work, because they're beings that are running on their own clock. And their sense of time is completely different from ours. And I am going to speak about spirits, guides, and familiars and all of that in the literal sense of yes, they are there, because that's according to my beliefs. If you don't 100% believe what I believe and how I perceive guides to work and how spirits to work, feel free to do some research, find something that resonates with you and share it in the group. My way is not 100% going to resonate with everyone, I understand that, so do what you want to do. And that's why this group is a wonderful place for you to share those kind of things, because the more we collaborate and bounce ideas off of each other, the more our brain grows, and the better our practices are, and the better communication with our guides will be. So, feel free, do what you want to do. So, when I first got started, I was doing meditation for it first. And I tried doing meditation, I tried doing tarot spreads, and the tarot spreads really didn't tell me anything. I just kept getting cups. A lot. Like the suit of cups. I kept getting a bunch with my Witch's Tarot. I was like, okay. Well, this is obviously a very emotional guide. And at that time, I was doing which show was I doing? The Snow Queen for my stuff. And in college, a lot of my spiritual experiences happened around theater. And same thing with reading tarot, hence why I mention it so much. So, because it's my creative environment. It's the environment where my psychic abilities started popping up the most, because I was 100% relaxed and comfortable there. Also, you've probably heard, those of you who have been in this group a while have heard me go on and on at how much acting and spiritual work is so much alike, because you're dealing with energy, you're dealing with raw emotion, and you're dealing with manipulating a scene while memorizing something, while at the same time being 100% energetically in the moment and bouncing off of other people. And there's a bunch of components together that reminds me very much of tarot reading and divination in general, which is why I love it so much. So during that time, I was in a production of The Snow Queen. It was the Christmas show, and this was one of the times where I had multiple roles, because my thing with theater and divination and everything like that is I don't care what I'm doing as long as I'm a part of it. So I can't even remember her name right now. I was a character. It was a kid's show, so I would go up and I'd talk to the audience like, "Oh, how are you?" All the little kids in the audience. And I literally had a bird cage in my hair with a little bird in it. And I played a guard, and then I was a maiden. So during intermission, I was in my maiden costume, and I was waiting for 10-minute intermission to be over. Everybody was going to the bathroom, getting a break, setting their props, and the stage was completely empty, except for the audience out front that was doing their own bathroom thing. I could hear a little bit of talk, I could hear the music, and I took that moment, because I had meditated that day, to just sit down and meditate and enjoy it. Because being on stage, especially when I'm by myself, it's such an electric experience, and I love it so much. It just makes me feel the utmost at home, no matter what I'm doing. As long as I'm on a stage, I'm good. And I was sitting there. There weren't any techs on stage. The stage manager was up in the booth. I was completely by myself, and I was sitting in the dark. And we have rehearsal lights back there, so we can see as we're walking around, besides the times we walk around in pitch black. But there was one light shining down. So I was sitting on a block in the middle of the stage, meditating. And all of a sudden, I was hearing this 8-year-old in the front row trying to get his friends to look up at the top of the curtain. He was like, "Guys, look at that, look at that." And I was like, okay. And I got the urge to look up at the valance. So when you have giant curtains on a stage, the hem at the top is the valance. I was looking up there, and I'm seeing a tail flipping around up there. And at first I'm thinking, am I fucking nuts? Do I need to go get hydrated? It is hot on the stage. What's going on with me? And I look up there, and I literally see this olive-skinned mermaid swimming in the curtain. And I'm like, okay, am I freaking the fuck out? What's going on? But at the same time, from the podcast that I was going through at the time, the Witch's Primer with Ariel Gatoga, he really got me an introduction into witchcraft and everything. He takes you through spiritual elementals, and that's how he helps you find your spirit guide. So I knew that one might pop up, and I remember him talking about mermaids and undines. So when I looked up, that's what happened. And I'm like, oh, I have my guide. She's up there. And she's still with me. She likes to swim around. She likes to freak out people when I'm on a random. It's one of the psychic lines with videos. She likes to freak people out. But that's what happened. And that's how I found my guide. And I've worked with her since then. So how old is Lily? 2 years now. And it's really such an experience. She communicates with me visually. She's helped introduce me to different deities that I work with, and really build bonds. She sometimes helps me with my mediumship stuff, but it's really more of a personal one-on-one kind of coaching thing. And it took a while. It took a couple months of me doing that meditation for her to pop up. So I don't want you to be discouraged if when you're trying to communicate with your guide and you're putting yourself out there, to be upset that nothing's happened yet. And your guide might not be a mermaid swimming on the ceiling, okay? You might not have, you might have that astral body experience where you're floating out of your body and then you freak out because you see somebody standing in the corner. That could be your guide. It can come to you in so many ways, but the easiest one to really get a grasp on are your elemental guides. And let me look at comments real quick to make sure I'm caught up. And it says, I mean, I can get up early, but it's going to be rough. You'll be fine. Freya says, I miss you all so much. I miss you too, Freya. Freya's in the group with us that's putting together the Summer of Magic event. We all miss you. Anna says, I got sidetracked with crystals and refamiliarized with myself with the pendulum, so I completely forgot doing some communications with guides. Yeah, and this is one of those things that if it's too overwhelming for you right now and there's a million things that you're doing, feel free to come back. I just want to, my whole thing is I want to give you introductions into different ways that you can expand your practice, and spirit guides is one of those ways. So don't feel super, super pressured. It's completely at your own pace. This is just to give you an introduction to what's going on throughout the rest of this month. So when it comes to communicating with your guide, like I said, meditation is how I got started. You can also do this with tarot spreads. I have a couple of tarot spreads out there to help people figure out how to communicate with their guides. Any type of mediumship or spirit talk spread is good for communicating with your guide. There are guide-specific ones. I really recommend hopping on Tumblr and just typing in spirit guide, and it'll pull up all the witchcraft stuff. And if you look up the tarot spreads, there's always something for talking to your guide on there. You can also make one yourself, especially if you've gone through the Quick Start Challenge and you know how to make spreads correctly, or if you're in the academy, you know how to make your spreads great, so feel free to make one of your own. But you can talking to spirit guides through divination, I found is the easiest way, because you already know how to interpret whatever your system you're using, whether it be tarot or runes or palmistry or whatever. And because you already know, it makes it easier for you to understand what's going on. It's like creating language with what your own strengths are. Because spirit guides like to talk to us through our most predominant clair ability. Okay? And I see this everywhere. I see, if you are a fan of the movie Eat, Pray, Love, in the movie, they didn't do it quite as well. In the book, though, she's talking about how she's at these points of really, really high stress in her life, and all of a sudden she'll hear a voice that just is really calm and just says to go back to bed, or to soothe her fears. She's clairaudient. And I'm kind of happy that it got kind of mainstream to the point where everybody is learning about this type of movie in this book. But it's also at the same time where I'm like, she's clairaudient and she doesn't know it. Or at least she's not talking about it like that. Which I could see why she's not. And then there's a time where she pulls out a notebook and she writes a question. And then it's automatic writing where her guide talks back to her. And it's back and forth. It's kind of a mixture of her higher self and her guide. And I'm just like, the spiritual side of me is like, that's what she's doing. And, people who are a muggle do not understand that. And then, if anybody is a fan of Abraham Hicks, if you're into the law of attraction, and when she talks about it, I love it when the psychics and the channels get up on her stage and talk to her, because she explains it's pretty much clairaudience when she first started talking to Abraham. Like, and all she's doing now is literally just interpreting the sound in herself and then projecting out and speaking to everybody else. She's literally a vessel. And that's the real reason I like listening to her, because I'm like, she's clairaudient. And then it moved to automatic writing, and then it progressed from there. But it's interesting to watch. You can see this happen with other people. And that's how your guides will talk to you. Now, familiars, because they are spirits themselves, usually they're a spirit that's a companion that can take a physical form of an animal. And they can mesh with your animal guides too. So that's why I like to address familiars a little bit. We're not going to get too into it, but it's the same kind of communication. They're going to talk to you mainly through your clair abilities, you know? And if you have a familiar, if you have a physical animal familiar, pay more attention to how they talk to you, because that will be another hint at how your clair abilities are working. And deities, it's the same way. True deities will talk to you in ways that work for them. But for example, if you're super clairvoyant, a deity, if you're interested in working with one or you actively work with one, they'll send you visual signs. Or they'll send you dreams and things like that. And same thing with all your other abilities. So, but really honing it down and sitting down with a tarot spread or sitting down with a palm can tell you in more accurate detail. Now, I like palms better because palmistry is so ridiculously detailed, and it makes the meticulous part of me so very happy. It makes my Mercury in Gemini very, very happy. But it's also a matter of having to learn those things, and that's something that requires daily practice, because your hand changes every single day. So let me see. There was a Rolly. Hi, Rolly. Rolly says, and you may not be listening to your guide despite them trying to give you messages. Exactly. It's kind of what I was trying to explain to some people. You might think you're ready, but your guide, because they know you and they've been with you, a lot of them since you were born, especially if you have ancestral guides, they'll know, they're not ready. So it'll take a little bit longer because they want you to be an energetic match. It's that high vibe and low vibe thing again. If you're too low of a vibration, it's going to be more difficult for them to talk to you, and they will just wait. They're just going to chill. If you're super, super high, then they're like, okay, let's go ahead and talk to you. But you're 100% right, Rolly. Anna says, I have a bunch saved too, and it can be helpful for inspiration when doing one of your own. Exactly. If you want to look at other spreads for inspiration, that's totally fine. Amanda says, I got my spirit song deck. Yay! And I'm so looking forward to using it to get in touch with my guides. Yes, the spirit song, it might be just my copy, but see if this happens with you too. Anybody who has a spirit song, I find that one and my Dreams of Gaia are really good with working with my guides, but the Dreams of Gaia is more like, it's more tough and more strict when giving that advice, because it's on its own system. But the spirit song, it might be the art, but the voice that comes to me whenever I'm working with it is just so gentle. It's like the grandmother that's trying to push you in the right direction, but it's not going to force you in that way if you don't want to. It's super soothing. It's a super watery deck for me. Who else has that experience with that deck? But I'm excited to see how it works for you, Amanda, especially because you do your animal Reiki. Kimberly says, yep, had a dream this week where a black cat with blue eyes appeared to give me and told me it was my guide and gave me its name too. Yeah, I know, they'll give you their names too. And it's super, super fun, and it gets you through this moment of, ah! And that's how you can create a regular schedule on when you want to talk to them, or just anytime that you need to see them. And these are guides. You can also put things on your altar if you have an altar, if you're into that, in order to honor them and things. And it just, it makes you feel so wonderful when it finally happens. Amanda says, oh my god, my real cat and I literally had a full conversation arguments, but I don't know what she's actually saying. Yeah, and don't feel crazy for that. You will have full-on conversations like that. And it's just because you're familiar at the same time. So it'll give you clues on how your spirit communication works. It's totally fine. Connection is very bad tonight. I'm sorry, Colleen. There's something up with my projection over here too. When I take down the video and I put it up on YouTube, we'll see if we still have the same issue. But I will go strictly into what the elementals are during the workshop, but we can give kind of an overview now. I'm trying to look at the time. Okay, we're good. So, think of it this way. Those of you that are in the academy and have done the elemental challenge, you're ahead of the game. You're super good, because all spirit guides can be classified into different elements, and usually what element is strongest with you in that time, or that you need the most help with in balancing, is what will come to you. I'm super watery, even though I'm earth in every kind of way. And it's just because of how emotional I am and that psychic connection that I have. So I got a water spirit guide that popped up. Mermaids are a part of the water branch. Because think of it this way. If you look at your classic mythology, you can usually separate the creatures of any kind of pantheon and their history and their mythology into elemental groups. That's pretty much what happens with your elemental guides. They can take the form of whatever pantheon works best for you, and those kinds of creatures. Now, there was a wonderful book called Wood Nymph Seeking Centaur. If you're single and you need a really fun dating guide, I found it at the library. It's super, super fun, and it gives you a nice little introduction into how different mythological creatures act. They go over wood elves, they go over werewolves. I'm a dryad and I'm married to a werewolf. And they have their sirens, and they have female and male vampires. It's super fun. If you're a mythology buff, I really recommend getting it. But it gives you a nice, really understanding of how different creatures interact on a mundane level. Okay, and especially if you're really into fantasy, it really, really does help translate emotion and how you're supposed to deal with the dating world into actual, into a more mythological sense. Now, so for example, when I go over the workshop, I'll be talking about centaurs, I'll talk about mermaids, I'll go over fae and fairies, and wisps and sylphs and all that. And then I'll also touch on deities, because deities are very similar. They will find their own elemental group. So to get you started, I really recommend looking at the elements that you really, really like to be a part of and seeing what would be your weakest and what would be your strongest. Because when you deal with an element in its purest form, like we did for the elemental challenge in the academy, it helps you get a better understanding of that. And if you really want to be ahead of the game more, you're always welcome to hop into the academy at any of the levels, and you'll get access to that challenge. And the reason why also, I'll talk more about this next week when it comes to palmistry, but if you choose a divination style that really works with you, like tarot readings, then you have a nice visual aid as well. You can tell clearly this spirit guide is in cups, so they're water. They're in pentacles, so they're earth. You can categorize it like that. If they are in the majors, then they're just purely spirit, and they will morph with you as you want them to. Or they're an ancestral guide, or they're an ascended master, or like we talked about last week, how it's just, they will categorize themselves for you. And it gives a nice little area like that. Whereas when it comes to palmistry, depending on the area of your hand that'll pop up, or, you know, that some of your lines will point to, that will determine literally the deity that you're working with. Because they each are named after different deities, both for men and women. So it helps. It's kind of like finding clues as a detective. It helps you figure out, okay, this is how we solve the mystery of communicating with the elusive spirit guide. Does that make sense? Amanda says, we talk a lot here with our cat, and it's not very hard to understand what he wants to tell us. Yeah, because it's that psychic link connection. Amanda says, do you think I should start the elemental challenge now? That is 100% up to you if you would like to. That is module 4 for you. I know you like to go in order. So if by the time the week of the 10th to the 16th rolls around and you've gone through module 4, go ahead. It gives you an introduction to the elements. It's module 4 or 5. I'm sorry. 4 or 5. I can talk to you about it in your session too. But if you keep going in order, you'll run into it. It's the beginning modules, so you're fine, Amanda. Anna says, oh, that sounds like a fun book. What did you say the name was? It's called Wood Nymph Seeks Centaur. It's a mythological dating guide. I don't have it anymore because I took it back to the library, but it's super, super funny. It's on Amazon. They have an excerpt on Amazon in the very beginning of it that is super good. So, it helps you figure out who you are first and then takes you through all of the guides. You can tell it's specifically written for women, but it does include the male stuff in there. So if you are more masculine, or if you are a guy, because we have men in this group, I know you're here, then feel free to use it too. It can be used for both. And I do like, for example, no matter what your sexuality is, she tells you, okay, this is what happens when this creature meshes with this one, whether you're male or female. So she does the male-male relationships and she does the female-female. So it doesn't matter what you are, she meshes it up from, and she's a creative writer, so she takes it from a mythological standpoint, and she takes it from actual dating standpoint as well, from her own experience. Those of you already in the heart-centered group, just type in my name in the search bar, and you should see the book pop up, because I know I shared it with everybody. Yes, it's really good. Let me get the thing real quick. It's called Wood Nymph Seeks Centaur. And I'm going to give you lots of book recommendations. Seeks Centaur. I'm going to be giving you guys lots of book recommendations this month, because I know I'm digging through my own supply of books and working on stuff for the workshop. Let me see. But who has questions about how to talk to their spirit guides? Do you actually have, like, any kind of questions? Who here is, I know a couple people said they tried contacting their guides. Let me know how it went, because every person is going to have a different experience. Their guides are going to pop up to them in different ways. I have seen other guides. I've seen the air ones. I haven't seen the earth ones because I haven't gone up in the mountains, because I'm in that part of Colorado where we're at the foot of Pikes Peak, but I haven't gone up in the mountains in a while. I love it so much up there. If I could live in the mountains and the forest, I totally would. But it's expensive to live up in the mountains. So that is something further down the road. But also, that's normally where you will see your earth guys. Anywhere that you have a fire, you'll see the fire ones. And anywhere that you have incense and smoke, you'll see the air ones. And water ones will show up usually in dreams. But it all depends. I popped a link, the Amazon link for the Wood Nymph Seeks Centaur one, into the comments. So feel free to take a look at it. Let's see. Amanda says, I tried once with a pendulum a while back when I asked if it was my guide. It just kept telling me maybe. Okay, so that's a really good thing. Sometimes, this is my only problem with pendulums. pendulums can be super, super finicky. So we can do a pendulum demonstration. So pendulums can be really, really finicky if you aren't specific enough, because they're so specific. And it also depends on the stone that you have, because, for example, if you have a black stone, normally that's a little bit harder for spirits to communicate to you because it's supposed to help ward off spirits. If you have a clearer stone, like clear quartz, or a clear citrine, things like that, it will help more. It also helps to figure out first what element your spirit guide is in, because that will determine what crystal you need to use. So if you have a tourmaline, like last month in the House of Rituals box, they sent us our animal totems. I have a tourmaline tortoise. So this would be my animal one, according to them, what they grabbed. But it also, it helps to find the element first, so then you can find a really good one. I have a pearl pendulum. Even though a lot of people don't consider it a crystal or a stone, I still consider it in that category because of how powerful it actually is. It's super nurturing. And it made sense for me to get a mermaid because my pendulum, it was one of my only crystals for the longest time, and it's a clamshell with 4 pearls on the inside. You can see it on the side, and I have a real pearl on the end. So the problem I've found with pendulums is if I'm not specific enough. It's given me false pregnancy answers. It's given me false... sometimes you have to ask the question a million times. You have to reprogram it, especially if you haven't used it. You need to reprogram it again and again. It helps if you have a board, because then it knows to follow along the board. That's how come everybody who got a board this past month for being really awesome in this group, you're ahead of the game if you have pendulums. But with spirit work, I find it easier not talking to the spirit, but having this kind of being like, hey, I want you to move the pendulum and tell me the answer yourself. Does that make sense? It's like a Ouija board planchette, which that's another fantastic way for talking to spirits. And it does count as divination, but it's more, you got to be very specific as well with which spirit you want to talk to, because you will get the ones that want to mess with you, that are the Fred and George Weasleys of the spirit world, and they will personally fuck with you. So you want to make sure you're super specific on who you want to talk to as well, and to not put 100% focus on you're going to answer me correctly for divination, because they're just people like us that are dead. They can't tell the future unless you tap into a really powerful psychic spirit. Let's see, scroll. Scroll. Yeah, you'd like the book, Colleen. You'd like the Wood Nymph Seek Centaur book. It's super fun. Amanda says, I hadn't really done much work with it, and it has since broken. It was lepidolite. Okay, so you want to get a new one that's not broken. Or you can get, like, this necklace would be good because it's a heavy weight on the end of a chain. I've used, without the ring, my breast milk necklace. But again, I attract a lot of nurturing stuff, so because that's just what's drawn to me. So see if you have a necklace that you can use as well, and that can also be used as a pendulum. Just make sure you program it. Kimberly says, mine has amethyst as the pendulum. That's good. So that'll help with your intuition, which is still really good for spirit work. But then I crafted it so I could swap it with a pendant or crystal that I like. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, it's also good if you make one yourself, because then that's imbued with your own energy and it'll be easier to contact you. I'm saying if you go to the store and you buy one and you're not 100% sure it's real, that's when you're like, no. Then I recommend getting one that is 100% real and is handcrafted either by yourself or by somebody else. Let's see, Amanda says, I was just asking it yes or no question about a certain situation, and then it just kind of morphed into a full conversation, and that's why I asked if it was my spirit guide. Okay, yeah. talking to you through a pendulum. It can be your guide. It can be your higher self. It can be a deity. That's probably why it was like maybe. Because we've talked about this, you have multiple guides. So you needed to be more specific with which guide it actually was. That's why it came out as a maybe. You know? Colleen's like, I'll buy it tonight. And it says, for now I use a clear crystal as a pendulum, but I've odd fluorite in pink and dark purple too. That's really cool. Yeah. It's also what calls to you. Mine was a gift that was given to me, and I really, really enjoy it. It does take some practice, and it forces you to be very precise with not only the questions that you're asking, more precise than sometimes you have to be with tarot, because we've talked about how not being too specific, how being too specific can really hinder you in a tarot reading. Pendulums are good if you have very, very, very specific answers, or for dowsing if you want to find things. So you need to get more specific names or energies from your guides first, Amanda, before it will probably work for you. Palmistry is really good for deities themselves. Also, fun tip, give it to you early. On the plane between your heart line, which is the top one, and your head line, which is the middle one that extends all the way through the palm almost to the other side. Like my daughter has one that goes all the way to the end. She takes forever to think about things. In between, the more X's that you see underneath your middle finger, those are mystic crosses or crosses of the occult. So the more that you have, the more magically inclined you are, and the lot easier it is for spirits to talk to you. You'll see more pop up over time. Your hands change every day. Don't freak out if you don't see any. Or if these two lines are together, then that's a different freak out thing. But if you have them there, that will help. If you see, like, which hand do I have it? Ha ha ha. Over here on the side, you see all these little lines that are coming up around the side, and they're going to cross up into the middle of my hand. Those are intuition lines, because this is your Luna mount. So anything that deals with your psyche, how your subconscious works, your psychic perceptions, things like that are going to be up on the sides of your hands where you would karate chop something. The more of those you have and the deeper they are, the much easier it will be for you too. There are other signs that tell you if you'll be successful in psychic careers and stuff like that, but I'm not going to do that now. That's a lot of detail and that's a lot of stuff. Kimberly, I have so many. So you're powerful. Mwah, the magic. Dude, my hand looks like the roots of a tree. That can happen if you're super stressed out, which I know that you're stressed out. Yeah, if you pay attention to... you can't really tell in this light. You can see it all across my love mount. It's like little spidery lines going all the way across. That's because I've had a lot of stress in my love life. So it'll sometimes look like roots. Depending on where those spidery lines are, that's where stress is. But that is different conversation for a different day. We will get into that later on this year when it comes to the palmistry workshops I'm doing. But yeah, if that's one way to tell if you're having any issues when it comes to your psychic practice. If you don't see a lot of those things, that's why, and that's okay. You can work to grow those marks every morning. We think tarot is a hassle every day to have to do, but palmistry is another level. But, hi Janessa, I have lots of those. Good, I'm glad. That just shows that you're really, really powerful and you're really flowing with it. Yeah, to give you a little taste. And that'll help you with any type of deity communication you do too. Talking to your familiars will be a hell of a lot easier. Like when I first tried to get a familiar, it did not go very well. But now if I were to get one, it would be a lot easier. And communication would be a lot easier. But does anybody have questions? If not, we shall hop off. Let's see. Because I know we talked for a good bit today. And please show up if you come to the Friday live streams. Even if you watch the replays, you will get lots of information on spirit work throughout this month. And for further details about the Summer of Magic, this is what's going to be happening. First of all, if you want notifications for it, look at the pinned comment that I have in here, and that will give you notifications about it. And then also, the event itself is going to take place between the 10th of June all the way to the 16th. All that entire week, about 2 or 3 a day. And sorry if it gets laggy really quick, because I'm trying to open things. Let's close stuff, see if that helps. And I'll give you the exact lineup. And it's everybody that's in the master class, that's in the Heart-Centered Spiritual Biz Support group. You have to be in that group in order to attend. Besides that, if you want to see replays, you have to contact the people involved in it separately, because we're all going to be managing our own replays. But we're going to be talking about dragons, unicorns, mermaids, fae, nature spirits, vampires, angels, all kinds of stuff. So this is what's going to happen. So we're going to have the Shadow of the Mermaid with Kai Elliott. She's wonderful. She is a she's a spiritual illness coach, but specifically with illness shaming. So if you are a spiritual practitioner and you have a chronic condition or any type of illness that you felt the need to hide because you're a healer, Kai specifically works with people like that in order to help them break that boundary. I am doing the palmistry one, where I help you find your god and goddess. Working with plant spirits and flower devas with Marissa Lovett. She does a lot of shamanism and druidism in her stuff. She did a wonderful live series where she was talking about different kinds of food and how to be spiritually connected with your food. She does it with chocolate and all kinds of stuff. It's wonderful. How to welcome water fairies into your magical practices with Susan Moore. Susan is wonderful. She actually has a thing on Etsy on how to create your own oracle deck. That's very easy, very fun, and it's actually not that high of a price either. So feel free to reach out to her too. There's Harnessing the Power of the Dragon to Reinvent Your Life with Victoria Kempton. She's really wonderful. She's been doing this for 25 plus years, doing readings. And she's absolutely awesome. Signs the Angels Are Around You with Pamela Jones. She used to do I think she still does it, a radio show. And talking to people about mediumship and psychic readings. And she's a Reiki practitioner as well, and massage therapist. She's awesome. So if you're into healing and things like that, especially with angel work, talk to her. Susie, who's in this group, and who helps me, who collaborates with me for the Moon Sister Activation Circle every month. She's doing Frolicking Through the Forest with the God and the Goddess. So those of you who know that she's a witchcraft coach and mentor, she is going to be teaching you how to work with the God and the Goddess specifically for forest life. Krista Foreigner, who's in this group as well, and she's awesome, is doing empaths and their relationships with emotional vampires. So if you are an empath and you have a really hard time with your boundaries, I know Lena, you were having a hard time with that, feel free to talk to Krista and to show up to her workshop. And you can find all these topics and dates as well in the events tab. It'll give you a link over to it too. Jennifer Paquin is going to be doing Confidently Expressing Your Creative Gifts with Angels and Mermaids. I'll be doing, again, how to meet and effectively work with your elemental spirit guides. So we're going to just focus on elementals. That's why we're doing it this week. And then Lisa, who's also in this group and is in the academy, she's going to be doing dragons, allies from the etheric realm. I'm going to teach you about dragons and dragon work. And then Christina Quick, I think I skipped one of hers. She's going to be talking about healing magic with unicorns. And I know there was another one she did. And she's doing the introduction workshop. So there's tons of stuff that's going to be jam-packed into a week, so we're not going to do a workshop just in this group this month, because too much stuff. But it's going to be super, super fun. Some other announcements in the meantime. If you go onto the Crone Academy website, which is just www.croneacademy.com, you'll notice that I am changing how it looks. All the links should be good. I've been working through it. I haven't gotten to the Magic 101 page to make it look prettyful, but the Tarot 101 page and the home page all look wonderful. They're sparkly, just like this group is now. And all the challenges and workshops that I've done here in the group with you so far they all have links within their blog posts and on the Tarot 101 page and the Magic page. They all are leading to Thinkific, where you can go ahead and grab them for free or for paid. There's a $5 one and a $17 one, stuff like that. Also, anybody that grabs one of the challenges automatically gets added to the new mailing list. I sent out the final thing for the mailing list. If you are in Europe or don't have a country listed on my mailing list, I'm sorry, but you're cut off now, and that's because of the new GDP regulations that I know everybody has been seeing because of the whole, we have a new privacy policy. Same thing with me. Only this one I want to make 100% sure we are compliant. So if you're in the EU and you haven't signed on to the new list yet, that's why. That's why you won't be getting more updates with me until you resubscribe. And for those that do that, and do resubscribe, I do have the Major Arcana workbook gift that I send to you, and I give you links to the privacy policy, so make sure you are 100% protected and you know what you're getting from me and how I use your info, because I hate that shady shit. So, a lot of info. I'm really excited for this month to finally talk to you guys about the Summer of Magic. And if you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the comments here, create a new thread, talk to us here in the group, or shoot me a message. Because you know I'm more than happy to help. So I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. I will see you guys next week. We'll talk more about spirit guides. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.